Today we're going to be taking a look at one of the more controversial sets of recent times, that being 75449 Siege of Mandalore Battle Pack. This set just released on January 1st with 116 pieces and a disgusting retail price of $23 US, which right off the bat is one thing I just immediately hate about this set. $23 for a battle pack even in 2026 is absolutely pathetic to me, and even $20 is too much for a battle pack. I think these should really be no more than $17 or $18, but yet somehow in 2026 LEGO has found a way to make them 23, and it's just ridiculous. On top of that, this set also has some controversies about the minifigures, however I will give my thoughts on that here in a second. On the back of the box you're going to find another render of the builds and the minifigures, which I do have to admit does look kind of cool, and then opening up the box and digging in, on the inside you're just going to find 3 unnumbered bags, along with 3 loose pieces, and then of course your instruction manual. Now taking a look at the 4 minifigures that are included in this set, here is the female Mandalorian, and I'll talk about the helmet last. From the neck down, it does look really good. I mean, this is some very highly detailed printing about what you would expect on a minifigure in 2026. It's also of course got the gunmetal gray jetpack, which I think looks good, and then even printing underneath that as well. And then also, as you might notice, this figure actually has a printed waist cape, which obviously is not my preference. I wish it was a physical cloth waist cape. However, I do have to say it actually does look really cool, and it actually resembles a waist cape, unlike the crappy karate belt looking ones on the clone troopers. But moving on to the actual elephant in the room with this minifigure, that being the visor on the helmet being gray instead of black, and I personally really think it needs to be black. For one, obviously it being black is accurate, however not only is it inaccurate, it also just doesn't look good in my opinion. And I see a lot of people say, oh, it doesn't matter if it's inaccurate if it still looks good, and I actually really agree with this way of thinking. The best example I can think of is the recent young Boba Fett from the UCS Slave 1 that just released last May. That figure is inaccurate because his arm should be a darker shade of blue, however I still actually like how that figure looks. Now don't get things mixed up, I still wish it was accurate. However, the figure we ended up getting is not aesthetically unpleasing. However, to me at least, that's not the case with this Mandalorian right here. I think the visor being gray instead of black and just having a small black outline makes a lack of contrast, and because of that, all of the grays in the helmet just kind of run together, and it gives it a really dull look, and I don't like that. Actually, I really don't like that. I think it looks ugly. And then also, not to mention, last time they made these figures back in 2013, they made the visors black then, so why aren't they doing it now? Now, fortunately, I actually can't say the same thing about the male Mandalorian. The visor on his helmet actually has more color surrounding it, that being red and black, so it does create more of a contrast with it being gray, and the color palette on the helmet isn't running together like it is on the female one, and it actually does look pretty good. Now don't get me wrong, I still wish it was black, which is the accurate color, however unlike the female one, it doesn't look bad. But then from there, you're obviously going to have great printing on the torso and the legs along with the back, and then he's also going to have a nice face print along with a blaster and what I assume is supposed to be some type of shield. Moving on to the 332nd Clone Troopers, I simply just don't like these guys. The 332nd Troopers have always been one of my least favorite battalions. I simply just think the orange and blue colorway is kind of ugly, and also not to mention we already got a battle pack of these guys back in 2023, so because of that they're already a very common figure, and in this set specifically I think it would have been a lot better if we would have gotten either 501st Clone Troopers or just standard white grunts, or maybe one of each. But seeing these guys again is just really underwhelming. And then also not to mention, of course, they have the helmet holes. I'm always going to say this, I think the helmet holes make the shape of the helmet look ugly. With these Phase 2 Clone Troopers, LEGO needs to find a way to keep the shape of the old helmet while including the helmet holes, and until they do that, I'm just not going to like how they look. Overall, this minifigure lineup pretty much went 1 for 4 for me. Like I said, the only figure I think looks good is the male Mandalorian, and even he still needs a black visor. Moving on to the 2 builds here included with this set, starting off with the speeder. Contrary to the minifigures, I actually love how this looks. It has such a unique and sleek design that really does make it feel like it's Mandalorian. I also love the design of the engines using the cylinder pieces, and then you're going to find a printed control panel along with this blaster up here that's actually on a ball joint, so you can move it around and aim it in any which direction you want to, which I think is nice. And when you put one of the Mandalorians in here, specifically the male one that actually looks good, the speeder, in my opinion, is freaking awesome. I honestly love this thing. The little clone barricade build definitely isn't as exciting. You're going to find a little printed sort of yellow caution piece right there, where you're going to be able to place your clone trooper to man the blaster on it, and then there's going to be a little box that holds his blaster. And I mean, for a battle pack build, it looks alright, nothing crazy. The speeder is a lot better. But overall, the speeder and the male Mandalorian really are the only redeemable things about this set, to me at least, but they're really not enough to make me forget about the other stuff. I don't like the clone troopers they went with, I think the female Mandalorian looks ugly, and again, the price of $23 for battle packs nowadays is just so ridiculous to me. So because of that, you guys probably aren't going to like this, but I'm feeling a 6 out of 10 for this one. Let me know what you guys think about it down in the comments below. If you're new, please consider subscribing, and if you want to check out more of my videos videos. You can see them on the screen right now.